Hi there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Vidhi, and I like talking about all things beauty. So, today I have my March favorites and fails for you. There's actually a ton of makeup in here today. There's also some skincare, body care, and hair care. So, let's get right into it. So, let's start with some makeup. I'm gonna start sort of in the order of application. First up, I have a TRISH McEvoy product. Now, TRISH McEvoy very kindly sent over 4 of their products for me to try. This is not sponsored in any way. I'm not obligated to speak about them. I'm just telling you about a product that I genuinely enjoyed. So, what I really enjoyed from them has been the Trish McEvoy Instant Eye Lift. So, this is an under eye corrector and it has a pink tone to it, and it really helps brighten the under eyes for me. And I find that if I use this, I don't necessarily need anything else with a whole lot of coverage. For example, a concealer, and I can go right in with a skin tint, and it works beautifully for me. It doesn't have a ton of coverage. What it does, however, is truly brighten the under eyes. And it doesn't really need to be set in place. It is self-setting. So that's another thing that I really like about this. So while we're on the subject, I will just quickly touch base on all of the products that Trish McEvoy sent me and what I thought of them. So they sent me 4 products, like I mentioned. They sent me an eyeliner. They sent me a liquid face color, which is essentially a blush. And then they sent me 2 of their eye products, the Instant Eye Lift and the Eye Base Essentials. So the Eye Base is sort of an eyeshadow primer, and I've spoken about this before, that it's a nice product and it does elongate the wear of eyeshadows. It does prevent creasing, but it's not quite as nice as the NARS eye primer. So if you're looking for true longevity and if you have oily eyelids, I would still suggest the NARS eye primer, but this is a good option if you don't have too much of that issue. Then there is the eyeliner. This eyeliner is actually in a gorgeous brown shade. It is the shade in Hazelnut. This is the one that I have on my eyes today, and I've really enjoyed using this. I find that they're very easy to blend and they do last through the day, so that's quite nice. They set in place once they're blended out. Next is the liquid face color, which is the blush. This is quite nice also, actually, but the thing with this is that it's nothing different, right? It's a normal liquid blush and it looks absolutely stunning on the skin. It's this lovely pink shade, and they have only one shade, so that's kind of a downside to it, but it's a really nice shade and it's a nice product overall. It blends easily, it looks lovely on the cheeks, but it's nothing special. You can find similar liquid blushes on the market. I will say though that this has some shimmer running through it that's not obvious on the cheeks at all. But in case that's something that concerns you, in case you have texture, that's something to look out for. And finally, of course, is the product that I just spoke about, the Instant Eye Lift, that I'm absolutely in love with and I'm going to be continuing to use. Next up, I actually have a makeup brush this time. So I have the E.L.F blending brush. This is a flat brush, and what I really love using this brush for is for concealer. Now, if you remember, in one of my previous videos I spoke about this DIOR Forever Skin Correct concealer, and I mentioned how while I like it, I don't quite love this concealer. Well, turns out it wasn't the concealer at all, it was the brush. About 2 or 3 years ago, the only brush I would use with my concealers was exclusively this brush. Over the years, I sort of got lazy and I started to use basically one brush for my foundation and concealer just to keep things quick. But the thing with a brush like this is that it really allows you to take very little product at a time and apply it only where you want it in a very targeted manner. It's almost been a rediscovery for me with this brush. Ever since I started to use this again, I have fallen back in love with this concealer, and now I know why I purchased it in the first place. I still think that the shade 2.5N is a little bit on the yellow side for me. I would like a slightly more pink tone, but all in all, I can make it work. Nobody apart from me can tell. But these two together have been an amazing combination, and they really, really help in getting that perfect, flawless base. And basically, these three together, and that's it. I absolutely don't need anything else on my face, and this is actually the combination that I'm wearing on my face today. I should mention though that since this is an e.l.f brush, generally speaking, they do tend to have a shorter life than some of the other brushes that I have used in the past. And when I say shorter life, I definitely mean that in a relative manner. Most of my makeup brushes at this point I have for about 5 to 7 years. And while sort of the Real Techniques and Sephora ones are still going very strong, some of the e.l.f ones are starting to give away. For example, this one, you can see that this is starting to rotate, and that's happened with a couple of my e.l.f brushes, and they've basically fallen apart. So while they're really genuinely good brushes, they don't have quite as long a life as some of the other brushes. But I will say, for the price that you get them at, I still think that they're great. After 5 to 7 years, if you need to replace them, it might be worth it, because not everybody has the money and the intention to sort of go out and buy the more expensive brushes on the market. Next up, I have the Merit Cream Blushes. Now, these Merit Cream Blushes I've really been enjoying and reaching for a lot this past month, especially the shade of Fox. The shade Fox is also the one that I'm wearing today. It's a really nice brownish red shade that basically I would consider like a nude blush. It's a shade that works with basically any look, any skin type, and it looks amazing. Overall, in general, about these blushes, these are cream blushes. They go on very, very easily, they blend very, very easily. They do have a slightly more natural, dewy finish, I would say, but I haven't had an issue using them over powders either, so that's a good thing. They don't quite last all day long, that's for sure, but that sort of comes with the territory of a cream blush that is easy to blend. I have two shades. I have the shade Fox, the one that I just swatched for you, and I also have the shade Apres. This is a more berry tone. So this is a shade that I enjoyed immensely in the winter, and I still pull it out sometimes when I want that cold girl or I'm cold look. I don't know, but you get the gist, right? It's a lovely sort of tone that makes you look all flushed and blushing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be reaching for this more as the spring comes in, but this is a shade that I reach for basically all year round. Next up is an old favorite that's also part of my project pan this year. It's the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Whenever I use this, truly I realize that there's absolutely no product, or there's absolutely no bronzer quite like this one. The shade, the texture, the blendability, everything is perfect, and I just cannot get enough with this. I love the way that it just warms up my skin a little bit and provides a little bit of shape to my face, and it's so easy to blend. Oftentimes, on a day that I don't want to use too much makeup, I'll just have a skin tint on, and I'll go in with this all over my face, skip the blush, and that's it. It also works wonderfully as an eyeshadow if you're going for a monochrome look. I absolutely love this bronzer. I'm glad that it's in my project pan this year, so I've been using it more and more. Next, I have another Physicians Formula product. This is the Physicians Formula Eyeshadow Quad in Classic Nude. Now, I don't know if these are available, but I still wanted to chat a little bit about it because I wanted to give Physicians Formula their overdue appreciation in terms of all the powder, all the powder products that I've tried from them thus far. I've tried their bronzers, I've tried their blushes, and I've tried their eyeshadows. And they're all top notch. All products that I reach for intuitively and I absolutely love using. So talking specifically about this eyeshadow quad, there's one shade that I reach for specifically. It's this warm brown over here that I like using all over my lid for sort of every day for the most part. Lately, I've actually been enjoying this darker brown shade that has a little bit of shimmer running through it. Hopefully you can see it now, yeah. So this has a little bit of shimmer running through it while the other one is completely matte. So lately I have been reaching for this one more often, and again, I just use it all over my lid just to darken the crease a little bit, and it looks really nice, like a little bit of shimmer on the eyelids, but nothing too much, very much work appropriate. So yeah, overall, again, if you're looking for powder products at the drugstore and you don't know what to pick, you can shut your eyes and pick up Physicians Formula. Their products will absolutely not disappoint. So next up, I actually have a lipstick favorite. Now this is from CLARINS. CLARINS actually sent over 5 of their lipsticks from the Joli Rouge collection for me to try. I do have a collaboration with them over on Instagram, but this here is absolutely unsponsored. I don't need to speak about it, but again, I'm just talking about a product that I genuinely enjoyed. So, telling you a little bit more about these lipsticks, the Joli Rouge collection has 52 different shades and 3 different finishes. They have a satin finish, a matte finish, and a velvet finish. So they sent me a couple from each of them to try out. But of course, truly to my nature, I enjoy the satin finish the most, specifically the satin lipstick in Nude Brick. This is an absolutely lovely pinkish, nudish brown. Uh, that has a little bit, just a little bit of sparkle running through it. That's absolutely not obvious. And that's what I have on my lips today. It just looks like my lips, but better with a little bit of shine. And that's what I really enjoy. Typically, for me, a brown lipstick doesn't work very well, or I don't enjoy it as much, but because this is so subtle and it also has a slight pink shift to it and it has that sheen, I really enjoy the look of it. I'm going to quickly swatch all of these for you so you have a good idea of the entire range. So I have 5 shades here. I've swatched all of them. Starting off with the first one, the first 2 shades are the matte range, so you can see that they're quite pigmented and they have more of a matte finish to it. So the first one is the shade in cherry red. The next one is in the shade pink tulip. Then the next 2 shades here, this one and this one, they are the velvet range. And personally, for me, I have really enjoyed both the velvet as well as the satin lipsticks. So in the velvet, I have the shade red grape, and the next one is praline nude. And the final one over here is the satin, which I just swatched earlier, is nude brick. So again, for me, I have been using these 3 the most. Of course, the satin one, the absolute most. But these 2 also, I quite enjoy the velvet. The matte ones, while they are really nice, they're very comfortable. I just personally don't enjoy a matte lip as much, so I don't reach for it. In terms of shades, definitely the 2 nudes are the ones that I reach for the most. So that would be praline nude and nude brick. For a pop of color, red grape is quite nice because it's not quite a red, it's more of a berry toned red. So that's a nice shade if you're looking for a pop of color. Finally, I have sort of Not quite a favorite, but not quite a fail either. It's the L'Oreal Panoramic Mascara, or the L'Oreal Panorama Mascara. This is a new mascara that was released by L'Oreal recently. And this is a volumizing mascara. It's the one that I have on today. Me personally, I enjoy a more lengthening mascara on most days, but I do occasionally enjoy a volumizing mascara as well. And this is quite nice. It definitely gives a ton of volume and it looks really stunning on the eyes. But my problem with this that it is an absolute pain to take off. And I do double cleanse. I use an oil-based cleanser first and then I go in with a cream cleanser. But even after that double cleanse at night, sometimes at 10 o'clock while watching TV, I will feel a little bit of mascara just under my eyes. So, yeah, if you've used this and if you have any tips on how you take it off, please do let me know because it's genuinely a good product that I would like to continue using. Now, next, moving into skincare. For skincare, I really only have two products here. First one is the La Roche-Posay Cicaplast B5 Mist. This is an absolutely wonderful new discovery that I have made recently. This mist is hydrating and it's amazingly calming because of the Cica ingredients in it. And I've genuinely been enjoying using it to the point that I think I like this better than my beloved Jordan Samuel Skin Mist. And genuinely, that's saying a lot. This has glycerin, it has panthenol, and it has Cica or Medicoside, which is the calming product in it. So, really, really wonderful. I've really been enjoying using this right after I wash my face, and I don't necessarily want to put any skincare, but I'll go ahead and use this instead. The only thing though is that I don't think that this is available in Canada because I haven't seen it anywhere. I do think that this might be available in the US depending on what website you look at, but it's definitely still available in Europe. So if you have friends visiting in Europe or if you live in Europe, I would definitely give this a go. The next time I get an opportunity to get my hands on this, believe me, I'm going to be stocking up. Another skincare product that I've really been enjoying is the Pyunkang Black Tea Enriched Cream. I mentioned this in a recent video I did on some new K-beauty products that I tried, which seems like y'all didn't quite enjoy it, but I will link it up here in case you just missed it. This is a really thick, heavy moisturizer. So you can see that this is a pretty stiff cream. It's a very thick cream, but it does have give and it does melt into the skin. Truly feels like butter and it's so moisturizing. I use this by itself and it's sufficient. And what I mean by that is that I don't necessarily need to go in with like a heavier cream, like maybe the La Roche-Posay Balm B5 Cicaplast, for example. Just this by itself is sufficient, especially now that it's starting to get a little bit warmer. This is amazingly moisturizing, and it also has black tea in it, which might have some antioxidant benefits to it, but more so I've been enjoying this for its texture and for the moisture that it provides. Another skincare product that I wanted to mention was a fail for me. Now, I don't have that with me over here because I actually ended up returning that, and I don't usually make such split second decisions, but honestly, this one was an easy one. I'll pop it in here. It's the L'Oreal 12.5% vitamin C product. Now, I was very excited about this because it's a 12.5% pure ascorbic acid by L'Oreal, available on the drugstore. And L'Oreal is the brand that owns SkinCeuticals. So I was hopeful that they had used something from that formula or that formula for this product because that's the OG vitamin C. Well, it turns out I did not even get to a point where I could try that out because when I used this product, it was so heavily fragranced that it felt like I had applied perfume on my face. And not just a little spritz of perfume, a bottle of perfume. It was so strongly scented that I absolutely couldn't get myself to use it more. I used it a couple times, and that in itself was enough for me. It felt like I was asking for skin irritation given the amount of fragrance it had in it. I still think it could have been a promising product given that it's L'Oreal and given that it had ascorbic acid. I only wish that it was fragrance free. But anyhow, my quest for an affordable ascorbic acid based vitamin C that's easily accessible in Canada continues. Next, moving into body care. Now, with body care, I actually have two favorites and a fail. First up, I have a hand cream. I have the Gold Bond Healing Hand Cream. I have been absolutely loving this hand cream. Now, typically, I don't really enjoy a hand cream because I find them to be very sticky, and then I just end up washing my hands in 10 minutes because of that stickiness. But that's where I find that this is actually very, very different. Initially, when I put this on, it does feel a little bit heavy going on, but very quickly it actually turns into more of a watery texture. Not quite water per se, but a little bit thinner than the way it started out. And then after about maybe 20 or 30 seconds, I find that it just sets. It sets in place and I don't feel it anymore. And that's why I enjoy it so much. Once it sort of sets in place, you don't even realize that you have a hand cream on. And for its price, I think it's an absolutely phenomenal cream given that it actually makes me want to reach for this more often. I haven't tried the new Prequel hand cream. I haven't tried anything from the brand Prequel because they aren't available in Canada, but they did recently release a hand cream, and the way the texture of that one is described to me, it actually sounds very similar to this. So if you're in the market for a hand cream, or if you're looking for something like the Prequel hand cream, maybe give this one a go. Next up, I have a deodorant. I have the Salt and Stone deodorant in the Santal and Vetiver variant. This is the deodorant gel. Now, this was another pleasant surprise for me. Now, typically I use the Mitchum deodorant, which is aluminum based, and I personally don't have a problem with aluminum. But the way aluminum works is that it actually prevents you from sweating, and if I think about that a little bit, sweating is a very important way in which our body actually regulates its temperature. So I don't want to be messing with that sort of temperature regulation very often. And that's why I only reserve the aluminum based deodorants for the days that I know I'm going to be outdoors a lot and potentially be sweating a lot. And maybe this thought process absolutely does not make sense. If there's a dermatologist out there who can explain this to me a little bit better, I'm all ears. But that's just my thought process behind this. And that's my long winded way of telling you why I need two deodorants on hand. So, this is my second deodorant that I like to use daily. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by this because I wasn't really expecting anything. I wasn't really expecting anything from a natural deodorant per se. But I have to say, this does actually work to quite a large extent. I do find that when I use this that my sweat doesn't quite smell as much. Couldn't tell you if this makes any difference in terms of the actual sweating. And personally, I'm not a big sweater either, so I haven't really tested this in an extreme situation. In an extreme situation, I would still go for Mitchum. But for everyday use, genuinely impressed with this and will be continuing to use this. Also, the Santal and Vetiver scent is quite nice if you enjoy a more sandalwood kind of a scent. It's quite pleasant, not obvious at all. You can absolutely wear a perfume over this. It's very, very subtle. So, really ticks all the boxes for a deodorant. Next up, I actually have a body care fail. Now, this is the Skinfix Resurface Plus AHA and BHA Renewing Cream. Now, I do have some ingrown hair and I do occasionally have KP or keratosis pilaris, which is basically the red bumps that you see on your skin sometimes. And usually I find that a cream with AHAs in it really helps, and that's the reason I had bought this cream. Unfortunately, I didn't look at it very carefully. While it does say AHA and BHA renewing cream, it says it's a 5% natural AHA blend and a 1% lime extract blend. Now, to me personally, a natural blend of AHAs is not quite as effective as, a true AHA. And that's probably why this product doesn't really work for me. But let me start at the beginning. When I initially apply this product, I find that it's a very, very thick moisturizer. I don't find that it is easy to blend. And I find that once you blend it in, it still dries down a little bit sticky. So, right off the bat, you start off on a bad note. But having said that, I have tried moisturizers in the past like Amlactin, which have a very similar texture. They don't dry down very well, they are sticky, but they are really effective, right? They have AHA in it, so I still don't mind using them because they serve that purpose. My problem with this was that A, the texture wasn't good, and B, as I was mentioning, the AHA and BHA blend in this doesn't really work as well. I don't find that this helps with KP, and neither does it help with ingrown hair. And then really it all comes down to the texture. And then since I don't enjoy the texture either, it's just a moisturizer that I don't reach for. So if you have a moisturizer that helps with KP and with ingrown hair that you recommend, please do let me know in the comments below, because that's something I'm still on the lookout for. Next up, I have the Briogeo Scalp Revival Charcoal and Tea Tree Build Up Detox Spray. Now, this is a pre-wash spray that is meant to be used on the scalp to clarify it. It does contain both AHA as well as BHA, so it has both salicylic as well as lactic acid. And I find that whenever I use this, I find that my hair actually has more volume. Like, my hair is actually lifted off the scalp because my scalp is so nice and clarified. And I do have an oily scalp, and that's why I quite enjoy this. If you have a dry scalp, maybe you won't enjoy this quite as much. But because I have an oily scalp, I find that this works amazingly well to actually remove some of the oils from my scalp and help lift my hair and give them a little bit more volume. And this is really funny to me right now because I do have naturally curly hair. When I wore my hair curly, I would absolutely look for everything that could reduce the volume on my scalp. And now it's almost the flip side. I'm looking for things that can actually give me volume on the scalp. So I guess the grass is truly always greener on the other side. Next up, I have a product that was featured even in my last month's favorite, and I'm still enjoying it. And I'd really like to take a minute here and say that it is normal to have the same favorites over and over again every month, right? That's what truly defines a favorite product. So if you see anything repeated over and over in my videos, you know why. But coming back to this is the Olaplex number 6 Bond Smoother. This is a leave-in conditioner. I absolutely love using this on the ends of my hair. I find that it really, really moisturizes my hair and it doesn't weigh them down. So I cannot stop reaching for this. This is an absolute staple in my routine. I may switch up my conditioners, my shampoo, and so on, but whatever I use, I always use this. And I've been using this for a while. I've only gone through maybe about 1/4 or so. So you don't need a whole lot. This small bottle will actually last you quite a while. Next up, I actually have two hair care fails. But before I get into that, let me tell you a little bit more about why I bought these products. Now, I'm about 32 years old, and I do have some white hair starting to come in, as you can see over here. And that's because it's genetic. My mom has basically all white hair at this point, and she did start going gray at an early age. So that's the reason why I also have gray hair coming in, and they do bother me sometimes. Most days I'm okay with it, but then some days, for example, when I'm filming or in the sunlight, they do start to bother me a little bit. So I started looking into ways in which I could, reduce their appearance a little bit, potentially at home and not having to go into the salon, because I don't want to commit to that just yet. So I found what's known as a hair gloss. They're supposed to tint your hair just a little bit without necessarily having sort of a permanent color change. So I went out and bought it on Amazon. It's the Sleek Espresso Hair Glaze Super Color Conditioning Gloss. Now I knew from beforehand that this was not necessarily going to be like a proper solution, because as I mentioned, it's supposed to tint your hair and not necessarily color your hair. And I tried using this. I used it just sort of where I have the white hair. And to be honest with you, it made absolutely no difference. And that may be because I'm not able to perceive that subtle difference that a hair gloss makes, because usually a hair gloss is used to actually tone your hair and not necessarily color your hair. So if you're looking for something to cover your grays, to cover scattered grays, this is not it. Then I also bought on the same lines the Schwarzkopf hair mascara, again of Amazon. Now, while this actually did work for me, this works exactly like a mascara. It has the same kind of wand. This actually did work for me. I find that this does cover up some of the grays quite easily. What it doesn't do quite well is cover up scattered grays. Now, because my grays are sort of scattered all over my scalp, and it's not necessarily just the roots, this is actually very tedious for me to use, because then I need to sort of hold each individual hair and coat it with this, which honestly is not practical in any way. However, if you're looking for something to cover just gray roots, I think this is a good option. I'm still going to keep this for a little bit just in case, there are hair that are particularly glaring to me and I want to cover them up. But by no means can I use this all over to cover my hair, because A, it would end up being too much product, and B, it would take absolutely forever. So that wraps up all of my favorites and fails from the month of March. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you found this helpful. Let me know if you've tried some of these products and what you thought about them. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for spending your day with me. I will see you next time. Bye bye.